This is a video about the structure of the cell. The cellular membrane is a good place to start. It is something all cells have, and it separates the cell from the outside world. Here, I'm going to label this. Cellular membrane. It is selectively permeable to ions and organic molecules, and it controls the movement of substances into and out of the cell. The next thing we're going to talk about is the DNA. That's what I am drawing right here. And then also in the DNA, there's going to be little proteins and RNAs. The DNA encodes the genetic information. Then genetic instructions used in the development and functioning of all living organisms. I'm drawing this DNA in its chromatin form. I'm going to label this DNA. All cells have DNA and a cellular membrane. So far, this cell could be any kind of cell. It could be a fungi, it could be a bacteria, or it could be an elephant cell. Alright. Now, the next thing I'm going to draw is a nuclear membrane. Together with the DNA, this is called the nucleus. Just going to label that right here. Now, this is a major division within life. Not all cells have a nucleus. When scientists were first able to see cells under the microscope, they noticed that some of them had a membrane around their DNA and others did not. The ones with the membrane without their DNA were called eukaryotes. The eukaryotes had a membrane around their DNA called a nucleus. The cells that did not have a membrane around their DNA we called prokaryotes. No nucleus. There are two categories of prokaryotes. They can be either bacteria or archaea. But now, it turns out that this is not actually the best way to classify organisms. If we were to draw a phylogenetic tree, which I'm going to do right here, we would see that bacteria actually branches off first. Then archaea, and then eukaryotes. So this means that archaea are actually more closely related to eukaryotes than bacteria, but because both archaea and bacteria lack a nucleus, they are both considered prokaryotes. Now, eukaryotes, of course, can be plants, animals, or fungi. There's also another very diverse group of eukaryotes that are sometimes referred to as protists. The group protists is not a specific kingdom like animals are. Protists are a very diverse phyla that do not easily fit into other categories. Many of them are not very closely related through evolution. Another thing that we could label now is the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is a gel-like substance enclosed within the cell membrane. All the contents of the cells of prokaryote organisms are contained within the cytoplasm. Within the cells of eukaryote organisms, the contents of the cell nucleus are separated from the cytoplasm. So you might ask, what happens to the DNA? In eukaryotes, the DNA is transcribed into messenger RNA, or mRNA. The mRNA is then transported out of the nucleus. So in the nucleus, it goes to mRNA. Then it's transferred outside of the nucleus, where we have all of these ribosomes around the cell. So these little green dots are ribosomes. The mRNA is transported out of the nucleus, where it attaches to a ribosome. Ribosomes are complex molecular machines made up of RNA and protein. Ribosomes are present in all cells and can be floating throughout the cytoplasm or attached to structures within the cell. They take the mRNA from the nucleus and translate it into proteins by linking amino acids together in the order specified by the mRNA. So, what we have in the nucleus, we have DNA, goes to mRNA, mRNA leaves the nucleus, attaches to a ribosome, and the ribosome transcribes the mRNA into protein.